MovieWeb.com.
Now, I want to ask you, with this film, was your first intent, did you set out to make a grand sweeping adventure, or were you trying to present a history lesson with this film?
Do know, I think it goes together. For me, I'm kind of driven by stories. I love to listen good stories. I love to tell good stories, and I'm usually looking for the good stories for my movies. And it was for me, first of all, I think I found great story about men who usually known as a brutal, almost no heart, evil, and especially in Russia and Europe. So it was a challenge for me to make this movie and to tell kind of different story.
So it was important for you, because I mean, he has always been presented as a bad guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
This guy's less of a monster.
The guy had a bad press, yeah.
So
for sure, yeah.
If he had better press back in the day, then we might not look at him like we kind of do.
Yeah, it's interesting sometimes to swim against the current. It's hard because you have to fight stereotypes, but it's a challenge, it gives you some energy.
Now, what did the lead actor, I can't pronounce his name,
Asana Tadanobu.
Now, what did you see in him that you thought was strong yet also
First of all, unusual, against stereotype, yeah, mystery, something kind of mysterious about him. His quality, presence, inner strength, and also he was handsome and sexy, and I was thinking it will be a date movie.
Well, I also wanted to ask you, I thought maybe the most important casting decision that came down on you was for the 10-year-old role of Borte. And I'm wondering how you went about finding her and what you were looking for.
No, of course, it's a movie in Mongolian language. So it was, for me, another challenge. I said, look, I want to do a movie about Genghis Khan in Mongolian language. It was not easy because I would make my life easily if I will make it in English, yeah, but it will be different. So I went first to Mongolia and I found my kids, which I was really happy about them because they're real, they're just Mongolians. And I found this lead actress. She is not professional actress, but she was again with amazing presence and looking good. But because also it was a love story, I wanted. It was important for the movie, and after I decided to find my guys here, and I found Asana Tadanobu, and secondly it was a Chinese.
So you found the younger actress first?
Yes. Yeah.
Now, I heard that the Mongols actually had a problem when they heard this was going into production.
A lot of problems, because this name. He's a hero, of course, in Asia, and especially for Mongolians. But his name was forbidden in Mongolia for 70 years, when Mongolia was a Soviet ally, and the Russians were important. When Soviet Union collapsed, Mongolia became independent. Of course, opposite happened. He became God, living God. So if you make a movie about God, not easy. People will have problems because, for example, they said, no, it's never happened with our hero that he was captured. He was in captivity. No way. I said, look, it's a question, but you can't prove me wrong, because he's part of his life missing. And it was, and some sources said, yes, he was captured, but, God can be captured, I said, especially Mongolian God. So, but I said, look, anyway, I will make this movie, we will to talk after, and it's I've worked with a lot of Mongolians, and they love the movie, and some audience loves the movie, but it's still mixed reaction, they kind of thinking it's a good movie, but it's the wrong side of Genghis Khan.
That's interesting, even after you kind of made him more of a hero.
Yes, and it's still not enough, for.
Well, I was going to ask you, how much factual information is there out there on his younger life when he was 10 years old and coming up? I mean, was that hard to find information on?
No, it was kind of this part of life. I believe it looks pretty real. Yeah, no, it's not so many sources, and all sources questionable, and some pieces of his life missing. More or less reliable source. It was found only 100 years ago. Already translation to Chinese. It's a poem. It's not like your history book. It's a poem. Emotional writer wrote this poem, short poem. So you have, but I think like this years, or this early years of his life, it was no sense to change so much because history was rewritten many times, like any history. Depends on the who is the boss.
Now, I've heard that you're planning on doing a whole trilogy. You're doing 2 more
I'm
films?
thinking because the story it's not finished, and I got a good reaction. Movie released in many countries, and it looks like my distributors they asking me what's next.
Well, is that going to be easier to write with more information being present on his later in life?
No, it's not easy. It's always difficult to do it right. Yeah, but I know now, of course, a lot about him, about interesting stuff.
Now, how hard was it to write the actual dialogue of the film, though, when you don't speak the Mongolian language?
But it doesn't matter, the dialogue. It's the dialogue you're writing. The dialogue, and after you're translating to Mongolian, you just follow the character. It doesn't matter he's Mongolian or.
But what was the most interesting thing you learned about Genghis Khan in doing this that you didn't know before? Like, surprised you?
Great spirit. What everybody trying to understand why the small army came through a lot of countries. It was biggest empire in the world, small army, and won everywhere. Spirit, strong spirit.
Well, when you're shooting on location like you did, how difficult was it to assemble all of the extras you needed?
It was nightmare. Yeah, nightmare. I was thinking now that it's movie finished a year ago. It was almost fun. It was okay, but all my producers thinking it was nightmare because 600 people, remote locations, sometimes 1,000 extras, horses, people taking care about horses, 40 translators on the set because people speak in different languages. Nightmare. But we survived, yeah.
How do you keep track of all of that as a director when all of the chaos is going on around you?
Sometimes it was impossible to keep the track. You have to flow, and trying to survive, that's it.
Mongol, the untold story of Genghis Khan's rise to power.